Hey people, how you doing? We have a special treat today. We're going to be talking about Disney, and I have people write to me and says, "Oh my God, you're going to ruin my childhood!" Like, no, we don't. We're not going to ruin your childhood. Childhood. That was Disney work, and like always, I have my business partner in crime, Elba Uribe, from all the way from the office from Latin America. Hi, Elba. How you doing?
Hi, Susan. Great. Just like waiting for this day to show the people how what we have for them. So it's going to be great.
Okay, let's see if we are live in all the channels because on Wednesday we need to apologize. We have a delay and a problem with the audio, and we didn't have the webinar that we were expected. So sorry for that, but we have an amazing guest. So even though if for any reason you couldn't watch the show, but you can see the repeat, even though if you can put out with the problems that we have with audio incompatibilities, I would say let's go for it. So we are live in all the channels, and if we keep going, I hope that we don't have any more problems. Your questions are going to be repeated as much as can. Thank you. We have a fan. Thank you, Paul. You always and all the events that we do, and wow, we have a lot of people showing. Okay. When we was prepping the class with Elba, we says like, okay, we need to have something related with Disney. And she come up with this amazing T-shirt that she's wearing. Maybe people cannot see where you wear Mickey Mouse. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't have anything to have to do with Tinkerbell, Peter Pan. Like, wait a minute. Disney bought Star Wars, and that's do I have a T-shirt with the Star Wars? So I'm wearing my Star Wars T-shirt. At the end, we're talking about Disney. And the reason why we choose this class is Elva fault. So again, they need to go against you. What happened when you have kids? You put hours and hours going to the cinema, and more now that you are home, hours in front of the TV with your kids and watching movies. And most of the movies has to do with Disney Pixel. It's not that we only pointing in Disney, but we have more data, more years to go back to show how the evolution from the 30s until today go. One day, Elba Campbell were thinking about topics to talk and says, you know what? I've taken my two girls to the cinema and watching all these movies. I realized that it's a correlation between the cartoons and the heroes on the Hollywood movies. It's like they're targeting the kids and the parents, because the truth to be told, who take the kids to watch movies? Most of the time are the mom. So the male characters are related to the who is on the scene or is on the Hollywood at the moment. So we start with Elba going through and like how much this has to do with how they manipulate the parents and the kid. And only to be clear, when we say we're going to do this segment, a lot of people who follow us start sending us website articles and pictures about things that are like scary, like phallic
Mhm.
symbols and hiding and products and pictures. And like, okay, we're not going to go there because it's too much. And this is a public setting. It's not our private group. So whoever want to be part of a private group that is scrolling down, we're going to go deeper in this PG not 13 about Disney, but today we're going to go from face reading. We find a correlation. Actually, Elba find a correlation. How this come up to your head, Elba, since it's your baby? You take it.
Yeah, it's because, like you said, I spent thousands of hours watching the same cartoon. I have two girls, so they always like to look the same one, to watch the same cartoon one and another time. So I come up with this because I was watching the movies and says, okay, wait a minute, what happened here? Here I can see some correlation and start thinking about people that we can see on the movies, the real movies, the Hollywood movies, and start looking for the cartoons and says, what happened here? There's a correlation here. There's something. They look similar. So that's why it says, okay, wait a minute, let's go for it and let's study and let's see what is the correlation and how they connect to the real world, because it's not only a fairy tale, it's to the real world too. So this is why this coming from.
Okay, only to be clear, we don't have anything against Disney, nothing in favor to Disney. The only way I have to watch Star Wars is to go in and pay the ticket to the Disney. But it's important to understand that, and we're going to go next week to a deeper, dark level that is called manipulation. And how do you think that you have a free will? And we talked with Michael Solomon this Wednesday related to cells, how the industry use psychology to get to your head. And most of the decisions you do in favor or against a product is completely embedded in commands. So there, some companies do products, so you fight against them, but they own the company that you fight against with. So our free will is not such a free will. But the problem is when the kids are embedded this command without knowing about it. And what we do in Human Behavior Lab and Human Behavior Hacker School is through research and teaching, we uncover and unveil human behavior. So this space is to teach you basically face reading, but it's way broad because it's get to a point where face reading is correlate with another things. So stop talking. You're here to see what we come up with ideas. So the first part, when I asked Elba, which part do you want to be talking about? And she's like, the witches. Like, why did I ask you? I don't know why I even ask you about it. I should know that you want to do that. Anyway, so let's see if you are watching and seeing the complete presentation. Are you seeing the complete one?
I can see it. That is in the slide of the cults on November 5.
So we're gonna go this one. You see the complete slide?
That October 30, How Evil is Disney. Yeah.
We have on the same one. Okay. How evil is Disney? How they manipulate people in a deeper and more scary way than any political part. Why? Because at least when we listen to politics, we know that certain things are going to come up and we can use our own dictionary to determine what is true or not. But when it's happening with your kids is when it's scary. Again, nothing against or in favor to Disney, is to only make you conscious that how things has been going on, but not now. And when people says the studies about psychology and consumer of face reading is new, or I never heard about it, let me tell you, most of the video games companies, all the Disney movies company, I studied face reading with a guy who was the one who did an X-Men, the werewolf, the design of the werewolf. And when they were designing the characters, they talked with physiognomies the same way Hollywood have physiognomies of face readers, and like, we draw this character. The writer and the producer and the director have this character in mind. Who is the actor who can have the characters who are reflected on the words? And when I says, can you imagine Brad Pitt doing a Taxi Driver? No. It wouldn't have to do with the character they represent. So you always need to have a correlation between what the person represent and the character they do. And again, I go to Hollywood and I like, oh my God, that person, it's reminding me. I remember watching the series Hannibal in TV, and I couldn't connect with the series because he didn't look deeper, darker, and twisted enough. Maybe because I saw Sir Anthony Hopkins on the first character and it's difficult to compare with such a good actor. But the new actor who was doing Hannibal, it didn't feel deep. It didn't feel dark enough. It was a failure from the casting director to look for the right person. So that's where face reading come up to the table. Now, as we says, next week calls. And these come from one of our students in our Facebook group. Sorry, can I like call here? The weather is changing all the time here in Chicago. And it says, like, I saw this on the news and I would like to go deeper. So we decided to do this special when we're going to see the correlation between manipulation, authority, and cult, and how the people can get embedded in a cult. So we're going to go for Charles Manson, Hitler, Zimbardo, a study about the Stanford prison, to Milgram experiment and what happened when he was in the 1961 watching the judge on people who participate in Auschwitz, and they says, I just was following orders, to Rainier, who has been sentenced to more than 120 years of jail for sex slaves and other things about cults. And people get fascinated. Why? Because they cannot understand how somebody can be recruited to Al Qaeda, being an American, or be part of the cult. In this case, in this cult, like most of them, you have famous people, you have actresses, you have people who like cannot be brainwashed. Well, be careful, because the way they do it and the way they can get to you is only showing authority. So that is going to be next week. Remember, next week, 3 p.m., we're going to be talking about cults. We're going to have the links on the promos. Now, if you want to be part of the Facebook group, that is a question that we have all the time. So you can go to the last link, Facebook group, facebook.com/group.hbh school. And if you want to know more about us, you can go to Human Behavior Hacker School for the preset classes like face reading. Or if you want to know about us in consulting, you can go to Human Behavior Lab. That is our website where we have the blogs and we have advice. Every day we are promoting something. And I have a couple of comments this week that they love the funny things about coffee that we're doing. So kudos to Vanessa. She's been she has been the malevolent head behind the design. So thank you very much. Paul says, I can wait to hear about the cults. Oh, Paul, get a good chair because it's going to be a ride. So again, when I asked Elba last night on the production meeting, says, what part you want to take? And I don't know if I should ask you, just go for it. And guess what she says? Witches. So Elba, this is your presentation. Just let me know when you want me to change the slides. Ladies and gentlemen, how Disney has been getting in your heads since you even was on the womb of your mom. Elba, all yours.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Let's start with this. And why I pick witches? Because witches are the evil part, the dark side. And we always think that part, that evil side, it's only happened on the movies. But let's see what happened when we start getting all the things together. We can go to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now, if you remember, if you have the chance to see the movies, here are the witches. You can see all the witches. And when we put together, we can see that they have similar features or the same ones. Everyone. It doesn't matter if it's a man or it's a woman, they have the same features. But what happened when they have the same features? Like we always saying that when you can read off each feature by separate, when you put it all together, you have the context about the person. So let's see what they had in common. We can go to the next one. Okay, they have pointy eyebrows, Norman Rose, pointy chin, and abundant eyelid. What it means when you put this together? Okay, pointy eyebrows. They always need to have control. And what happened if you remember the movies? Every witch has something to can control their people that are working for them. Like, for example, like the mirror with the witch of Snow White. The Ursula is the one to the Little Mermaid. She had something like a bubble, so she can see what happened when she wants to do something. So everyone has to be in control. What about the Roman nose? This is the kind of nose that every witch has, and you can mix it with the point, the tip of the nose, it's down. So it has two things. The Roman nose, that's the one that has a little bump here, and the pointy in the chin, and the tip of the nose, it's down. What it means, first of all, they think outside the box. They're the kind of person that you can see that black point in a white wall, they are the ones. I was looking on the characters of the good ones, on the princess and everything, and they can look like similar. They act similar. They dress similar, but the witches, they are so different. They are so different. Even though I remember when I saw Aladdin and he's Jafar and he has a little bird. I don't remember the name, and he says, "Master, you always have a great plan." Why? Because they think they can see things that no one else can think before. But what about the pointy chin? They have they talk by criticism. They're always going to criticize everything, even though if it's a good thing, they always look like the criticism and how to talk. They don't going to talk like in a good way for
They
so.
criticize, but they don't like to be criticized. That's the
Uh-huh.
reason every time they
Yes.
go against a witch, they put a spell on you because they don't
Mhm.
want people to go against them. That and they have that malevolent aspect,
And
like pointy eyebrows, pointy nose, and pointy
it's
chin.
intimidating.
Yeah,
It's intimidating. They look intimidating. Now, here's the part that it's make me like, wow, the abundant eyelid. What I mean the abundant eyelid? They means that you need to be with people. But if you can say it's like, yeah, but they are the evil part. They don't need anyone. Yeah, they always need someone. They need a partner in crime. If you see every witch, everyone has someone with them. Everyone, even though it's a mirror, even though it's a person, even though it's an animal. So they always need to be with people. So that's why you can see the correlation with the features and the character. But let's see what happened when you put this on the real life. Let's go to the next one. Look, this one. It's like wow. It's when we were talking about this with Susan and says like Susan told me, you know what? I read something about Angelina Jolie when she was doing the character, and she says like she needs to look more evil. The makeup that she had is has to be strong. And why? You can notice here that if you change your feature, even though you are going to do permanent, or if you are going to do it just for a while with makeup, like women does, you change the personality. You change instead to make a good role about a good acting about the role that she is playing. She changed the features. So if you had the chance to watch the movie, she's amazing. How she act, it's great. So now we start seeing that it's not happening only in cartoons. It happened in the real life too. We can go to the next one.
yeah, and only one comment. When she was doing the makeup and they did the first testing with the makeup, she says, I look too nice and I look too beautiful. I need to look more malevolent. Like, I didn't saw the movie, but I read
I saw
the
it.
comments from one of the artists and says, like, I cannot be nice. I cannot look nice. I can look beautiful, evil, but I cannot look nice. And if you look like, do you remember the picture on the right? What year is from the 50s or 60s, I think so,
Yeah,
no?
it's the 50s.
And malevolent is for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
So we
Yep.
still have a correlation. Here we go.
Yes.
Next one.
Hocus Pocus. Wow. When we talk about this and we talk about Hocus Pocus, was it like, yeah, they look like witches and they act like, right? So we start putting things and saying that this is happening too in Hollywood, and Disney need face reading instead to make the character like as they want to, as they have to act. So we can go to the next one. And
Yeah.
the next one are shocking for me.
Here we go.
Okay, let's start this.
This is 30s and 40s,
This
no? When
is,
Disney started, no?
yeah, yeah, this is the Snow White. This is, I don't remember the name of the witch of the Snow White. And it's when I was looking for why they made this character and how they made it, I come up with this. This character, it's look like the model that we see over there. It's Joan Crawford. And she had a daughter. and she write a book and says, and the book was Mommy's Dearest, and she talked about how was living with her mom, Joanna Crawford, and she says in one point, you know what, it's not too different, the character of that witch on Snow White through my mom. They were so similar, and if you can see it, they have the same features.
The eyes, it
So
struck me
that's
how
when,
the eyes and the
uh-huh,
eyebrows and the
the
pleasant
eyebrows.
posture. Like, and
Mhm.
Joan Crawford, at the end of her life, she started having thicker and thicker and thicker eyebrows. When she married, I don't remember, was one of the directors of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and
Mhm.
she got divorced. And when she went to trial and mediation, she had the thick eyebrows, like almost tangle eyebrows, and like, holy
Mhm.
cow, she looks scary.
Yeah, she wasn't scary, and that's what the daughter says, Christina, when she wrote a book and she talked about all his life with her mom. Yeah, they look like so similar. Not in only the cartoon, not, it's in real life too.
Yeah, I read the book and I saw the movie. Like, my parents wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Now, this is the one that I was like, wow, what happened here? First of all, if you can see both faces, they are not like female faces. They look like something male in the faces. Why? Because he's an actor. His name was Harry Glenn, and he always played females roles. And when they were doing the Little Mermaid, they think about him and the personality that he had when he played that roles is the same personality that has Ursula. So it's like shocking because even though you are a woman or a man, you can have the same features. And it's like, for me, it was like, yeah, this is right. And he called Divine because that's what was his name when he plays the roles of females. So it's so, for me, it's so strong to see this because it's not only it's not to say, well, that only happened in the movies and don't worry, people are not like that. Yeah, instead to do the roles or even though in their lives like the we see before Joanna Crawford, they look like they act like. And we can see the last one. Now this is Jafar, this is from Aladdin, and he is Conrad Veidt. I cannot spell too
Oh,
good the
don't
name.
worry, I
The
ruined
the
my
the,
own name,
the
and I just find a
Yeah.
misspelling. And one of the slide before I saw a misspelling. Like, we work in that presentation for 2 weeks, and I just see the misspelling. Like, duh. Don't worry.
Yeah, it happened. It happened. So why I put this because I don't remember if you saw the movie, the real movie that we have like 2 or 3 years ago with Aladdin, and the character that plays Jafar, he's not. He doesn't look like Jafar. And I was looking for seeing and it says like where who was the character, who was the actor that was inspired from Jafar. And I look for them in his Conrad. And when you see them, you says, yeah, they look like so similar. And that's why, like you said, Susan, when Maleficent, she has to look more
Scary.
evil, scary. And the one, for example, that plays as Jafar in like the movie that we have of Aladdin, he doesn't look like him. So that's why the correlation, that's how the correlation came. So you can see and you can notice that it's happening too. It's not because, oh, they had an idea and they put that character. No, they know what they are putting and they know why they are putting. I don't know if you had something else to add because this is for me like I love this.
Yeah, it's like one of those aha moment, like, oh my God, we have been seeing this for 50
Mhm.
years. I don't know how much of you are over 40, but I do remember going on Sundays and watch one movie another after another and bring food and sodas and go with your grandmother and your mom. But the point is why we start putting this and what we says is evil. Because again, the ones who take the kids to the movies or spend time with the kids when they watch a movie, they tend to be moms. I don't say dads don't do it. That's the reason some, like the mermaid character in something, they're extremely female. They have this small waist and perfect body.
Mhm.
And all the one who are a little bigger are more malevolent, and the skinnies are nicer, and they always get married.
Mhm.
So that is a stereotype that it's kind of uncomfortable for me now that I understand it. And one of the crazy things is when we start talking about people, when we were doing this show, most of the women says like, well, I almost want to be one of the witches. I didn't want to be a Snow White. I didn't want the pick-up wife fans. I don't want a prince to come and rescue me. I can do my things by myself. By the way, I was doing something with a dating podcast, and it says, you know what? The new dating aspect is this. They're not going to come in a white horse. They're not going to save you. Probably you're going to pay for your own Uber, half of the meal, and you're going to end up divorced and fighting on court. So the perception that we need a man to save us is something as a woman, it's bother me. I don't want it to be safe. I want a partner that is equal to me. Now, what is the part where I start getting a little more evil, and how they start setting the perception from the parents, the mother in this case, and the kids? Now, princess, new versus old. And again, kudos to Elba, because I don't know how the heck you find these pictures. We ran this presentation with our Facebook group last Friday, and I think it was like 3 hours ballistic, because we couldn't start asking questions and answering things and go through the deepest psychology in this. There are certain things that we don't talk on the live events. So again, if you want to be part of the Facebook group, you don't need to pay anything. Just we need to vet you to make sure this is a safe place where we can openly think about a lot of things. Sometimes personal, because sometimes people bring problems they have at work, or they need to interact with others. So again, what is the difference? The first time that Disney started talking about princes and giving the story, by the way, if you have the chance to read the original Brothers Green books, it's a book called Enchanted that I talked last Friday. If you want a copy of the link of the book, it talks about how all the stories start twisted. And Disney took it, but it still something they're twisted on the back. Actually, some people was relating Walt Disney with the Illuminatis, and most of the movies that we ended up not putting in that, but they have this symbol. There apparently this symbol, it has to do with the Illuminatis. And I start only for this show, going through a lot of movies on Disney, like, holy cow, they do that, the same symbol. So it's embedded behind. So I wanted to start researching a little more about the Illuminati and the supposed cult they have and how they embed it. But I think we're going to talk in the next episode when we talk about cult. But you can see the first prince is in 1937. Now, in 1989 was the last one that we start betting, and now we have from the 2010. You can see, and you can start imagine, try to remember the male characters there were on the news, and there were in Hollywood, and they were out there. And start close your eyes and start to remember. And now we're going to show you the correlation from the character that Disney was showing you and the character that Hollywood was promoting. But not only that, everything who coming behind the promoting those movies, because Disney was partner in a lot of movies that you didn't know, action movies that were related out there. One of the characters on the first princess was round eyebrows and a straight chin, meaning they were like, I'm about people and I love you and I'm gonna save you. But they were start having changes. Why? Because after 1989 and 1990, we start having strong, more male, like White Snake and Bon Jovi character. And we're going to see how that happened. So between 1991 and 1995, we have Schwarzenegger, we have Sylvester Stallone. The only thing who is not reflected here is Bruce Willis, but that was, and it still was a badass character. And they start having still round eyebrows, a straight chin, but they have the likability line. They start being more sensible. The likability line is the line that you're going to see between the lip and the chin. And in this case, he have thicker lips on the personal side, that is the upper lip, and the lower side, that is the outside world. In the case of the second one, is have thin lips, but you're going to see what this character is wrote and described based on. So 2010, 2013, the princes look like the guy next door. They have straight eyebrows and round chin. They're more focused, facts and data, give me the information and I'm going to save the world. The other one were like, oh, I'm listening to your feelings. It's more about feelings and I'm going to be doing the things. In this case, it's like, give me the facts and data. I'm going to be more pragmatical. I'm going to be another kind of hero. But still, they look like the guy next door. Can you see the difference? I don't know if I would have fallen for any of these characters, but that was happening at that time. So before we going back to explain how the characters were drawn to real heroes, remember next week we're going to be talking about cult manipulation. We're going to go from Manson, how Cialdini, channels of influence. We're going to talk about Rainier, that is the one who has been in the news because he was accused of sex slaving on his cult, and it's a lot of people involved. I don't care who was involved. We're going to talk about the psychology and the behavior behind cults, and we're going to show videos and examples that how sometimes, even though you think that you are in control, people can brainwash you. And don't go to the Russian 6 months in a closed room, or what they did to the Unabomber in Harvard, brainwashing him. Sometimes it's way more simple. Sometimes you only need to wear the right clothing and a white coat, and you're going to do what people tell you to do. We're more permeable to be manipulated than what you think. And when you have any emotional withdrawal or any emotional IQ problem, you're more prone to happen. And the funny part, to say in some way, is like people think that because you are famous or you're in Hollywood, you're not permeable to this. And like happen, this is one of the cases with more Hollywood actors and more people known about it. So now, what if I tell you all of them have a name, a last name related to Hollywood? Let's go for the first one. These two were happening at the same time. Can you see the correlations on the features on the face? Okay, James Dean have straight eyebrows. This one have a little more pointy eyebrows. And this one is covering his hair because it was like the prince, like, but when I saw the movie or the segment of the movie, I saw that his bangs of French were moving all the time, depending with the air, and like were more sexual and sexy. And actually, James Dean have the bangs put in up, so it is a correlation how they manage the top part of the hair. But you can see the similitudes; they're really similar. They're drawn on top of their face. Now, when mom went to see with the daughters these men, she get unconsciously stimulated with the movies as an adult that she was fantasizing with. That's when I start saying, and the kids who were innocent thinking that, oh, the prince is going to save me, they start relating that prince with a human, flesh and bone. And that's where you start going, the correlation. That is how they draw moms to take kids to the movies. Why? Because they unconsciously, there wasn't fantasizing about their own dreams. What about this? I don't remember I don't remember the name of the actor, but you can see the similitudes. Even the dressing they have. And Elba, I don't know again how you find these pictures, but are amazing. Can you see the white part of the neck and the dress? And you can see the dressing is similar on the picture on the left. Come on, this is start getting spooky. They're so when we was betting this presentation with people on the team, like, oh my God, really? Like, yeah, That's how they were drawn. And by the way, it's still happening. I
Mhm.
was showing I get in my feed in LinkedIn jobs positions who had to do with face reading, because that's allowed me to know what is face reading moving on. And I saw two video games companies that were looking indirectly for person with people who can draw characters. They didn't say physiognomy is a face reading director, but they're looking for people who can relate script with characters to develop those characters based on what is the outcome they want and what is the avatar they want to create.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
concept of avatar start coming on the late 90s, beginning of the 2000, that this is the same as the avatar. And by the way, boys wanted to be the princess. So you have this generation of boys who relate to the princess, and suddenly these boys start watching adult movies. The girls start watching adult movies. So unconsciously, you're gonna be looking for the same character that you fantasize to be saved
Mhm.
by when you was a kid. Next one. Come on, they're twins.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember the name of him. Mark. I don't know
I'm
the last
horrible with
name.
names, so it's
Yeah,
gonna.
but he was the actor from Smallville, the one that played from Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's happened on the same time, even the color of the eyes,
Mm-hmm.
look, the mouth, and the actor on the right have like a little crooked mouth, like a little contempt, and the character on the right have the same. On the left, I'm sorry, have the same. Look at the eye. Look at it, like, oh, puppy eyes, like those blue deep eyes, big eyes. Tell me if not the same. Anna, I know that you love Disney and you feel like I'm gonna be broken your 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 fantasies with that, but you can see that. Oh my god, I love this. Now, uh, it says Emily Cohen, Tom Willing had the
Yeah,
bigger crush
Tom
on him.
Welling.
Tom Willing, thank you, Emily. Hi, Emily. How you doing? Emily has been
Thank
in
you.
a couple of our classes, and she's a fan of face reading. And every time that she have a person like, can you read this face? So yeah, thank you very much. Tom Willing is the character who was on the movie, and I think a lot of women have a crush on him.
Mhm.
So to know that we were talking about, let's go back. This is the actor she's talking about, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me. So again, that's your crush. Elvis Presley. Oh my God, women were tattooing his name on
Sí.
her chest. Women was when he get married with Priscilla Presley. Women
Mhm.
tried to commit suicide. He was a huge movement. What happened with the princess of that point? By the way, in one point we were asking ourselves, who start first? Hollywood get the characters and Disney copy it to not lose the audience, or Disney was working with Hollywood in this. Whatever is the situation, the chicken or the egg still is freaky. Because if you have an actor in Hollywood and you was designing the characters based on that, you still manipulating. It's called consumer. So
Mhm.
the same way when you go into the supermarket and you see the cereal boxes, all the cereal boxes who are below 4 feet, they have big eyes. They're more like the cat in Shrek. They're more
Mhm.
characters in cartoons. Now every cereal who's 5 to 6 foot that is designing for adult, they're gonna have different colors. The eyes are gonna be different. It's like some of the cereals I found out. I want to go to the supermarket and start taking pictures. That you start moving, it's like the Mona Lisa when you go to the Louvre. Doesn't matter how you move. You think they're looking at you. It's freaky. Like, are you following me? And people, and I was talking with somebody who worked in advertisement and says they do that so you feel like, okay, you're looking at me, so I need to take you. So stop looking at me. And when you have it on the counter, because they're looking at you all the time, you need to consume the product. So it's a science and it's a behavior and has to do with physiognomy and people. The only thing that we're doing here is showing you what happened behind the screen. That Elvis Presley, come on, besides he have a beautiful voice and he have a traumatic life he was a crush for a long, long time on a lot of women. Now, remember when we talk about why this character have thick lips? Beside the color of the eyes, then I don't know if this guy have light eye colors, and I have a crush on him on the 90s, so I should remember better. But can you see the wrinkles on the forehead? Can you see the eyebrows and the puppy expression? So we're talking about here. We're talking the expression on the eyes, the expression on the eyebrows, and the lines on the forehead and the line crossing. Elba have that line. We were talking about that last night. And you can see here, Brendan Fresh, something like that is, I think, his name.
Brandon Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser, yeah. So you see the wrinkles, you see the nose. Let's be clear, on the cartoon, there's some features that are blown up. Blown up meaning when you want to make a more a strong present. If you start seeing the noses, when we talk about noses, one of the examples that we give is like how the fighters for Alexander the Great were determined or were picked based on the size and the type of the nose. He have a fighter nose. He have a big, thick nose that is show like a fighter. And if you look on the character, have the same. Plus, do you see the bump on the nose? Do you see the bump on the nose on the character? Can you see the bump of the nose on the actor, on the real actor? Hi everyone, Brendan Fraser. Hey, I have the idea that you're Perry. I can see Facebook user, but I think that for the way you write, you're Perry. Confirm to me. Thank you, Perry. So now we're gonna go back one again. You see the nose, the small nose. You see the nose here, the pointy small nose, and the bridge is like a U bridge. Now we're going back. Please start paying attention to the chin, the nose, and the eyebrows. Here, you see the nose? Can you see the nose here? The similarity on the nose? So not only that, we didn't have time to go to the princess, but when you start seeing these characters, you start emulating these characters. And men were using this character like, in order to be a hero, in order to be attractive, I need to be doing the same. Long hair or short hair or dressing in a certain way. The same happened with girls. Like, I want to have the color hair. I want to have that body. I want to have this reflection in myself. Those are the things that happen when you start stereotyping kids regarding this. Now, Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, Patrick Swayze.
That's I remember for Ghost, because I have a friend who I lost a bet and she took me to watch Ghost, and I was like, oh my God, what the heck am I doing here? Really? What I'm doing watching a pink movie? And she did it on purpose. She tortured me. I was watching Basic Instinct. No, she took me to watch Ghost. And so that I remember, because it was the most painful hour and a half. Sorry, I'm not the romantic type. So I know that movie was deep to the heart to a lot of people. To me, it was a painful, like bamboo stick under my nails. Like, really? No, it's not happened. But the point is that you can see, again, the nose. Even though Patrick Swayze didn't have a big nose compared to other zones, you still can see on the eyes, the shape of the hair. You cannot see the ears here, but we're comparing with another picture, but we need to choose one. But the proportion on the face, when you see the character on the left, you can relate it to the character on the right. Now let's see if okay, this one. When Elba says like, I finally found what guy this is done. Can you see the hair on the bottom part of the lip? Even though the character on the left, the beard is kind of different, it's shaping the chin of the character on the right. And Elba, can you tell us what you relate these two besides they're on the same time? Even the how you call this hair when it's growing on the next to the ears? I don't know. Eh?
I don't know. I just say how to say it in Spanish.
I don't know how to say it in any language. So if somebody remember how this, I'm talking about this hair next to the ear. Can you see this? Can you see the character? It had the same length and the same kind
Mhm.
of hair. You see the eyebrows? The eyebrows in this character are really near to each other, and they're thick and straight. You can see the
Mhm.
nose, the little tilt down, and the tilt down, and says sideburn. Thank you, Earl. Love
Ah,
Cayenne,
thank
so
you.
sexy. Yeah, okay, Cayenne. I don't know, like
Ayan.
sideburn. Yeah. So you can see the sideburn. Can you see the eyebrows? Can you see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the hair chin? How you related these two?
Because it was funny because I saw that movie Rapunzel like 1,000 times. Tangled. Yeah, I think that's the name in English. So when I because in Spanish the traduction the man who does the voice, I was thinking one night we were watching the movie with the girls and says, I know that voice. Who is that voice? I know that voice. And I start thinking, who is that voice? And it's Chayanne. He made
The Spanish version or
the
the
voice.
American version too?
Mhm. Spanish, no, the Spanish. The American version is another one. But in the Spanish one, I says, yeah. Yeah, and I said like, wow, okay, I'm going to look a picture from Chayanne and from this prince, and I says, okay, yeah, they're so similar. That's how I ended up to knowing who was the actor, or in this case, the singer that was inspired the character.
And I have somebody who work at a movie production in Hollywood, and they say sometimes they're looking when they do cartoons, they're looking for the actor who's gonna do the voice. They
Mm-hmm.
look for the actor can express with the voice what the character want to explicit, and they draw the character based between the voice and the director's orders. When I met the woman who does Lisa and The Simpsons, and like, oh my god, you look like Lisa.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm so used to. She does a couple of voices. What happened on The Simpsons is one actor make more than one voice, but all the characters on The Simpsons, they have a similitude. But Lisa was one of like when finally present who was the crew who did The Simpsons, and like, oh my god, I just see you with yellow hair. That's the only thing missing on you. And the last one, I don't have anything against him. I think to me is like look like a baby face. But again, when I says, can you imagine this actor doing Taxi Driver? No. But can you imagine this prince be related to Brad Pitt? I know Brad Pitt was the crush for a million of women on the 90s. To me, it was too nice,
Mm-hmm.
too girly. But you can see the correlations between Brad Pitt and the guy on the left is the guy next door. So
Mm-hmm.
those two happen at the same time. Like you see the crooked smile, the chin, the cheeks, the eyes, like oh those eyes. Even though the character have a bigger eyes, what happened? If you look on the witches have a small iris. But all the characters that we have here, and I'm going to go back to the presentation, please pay attention to the iris and the eyes of the characters we're going to watch now. Can you see they have a full eye? The eyes are big. They're full.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter the color. All of them are big and deep. Now we're going to go fast to one of the witches. By the way, it was a difference between how they design the eyes. They'll become more prominent because psychologists start telling us that arousal and fear show in the eyes. So they start paying more attention to the eyes. But something that never changed it was, and I'm sorry jumping, but we shouldn't have put that. My bad. You see the small irises on the villains? Can you see the small irises and the small pupils? It's difficult that you're going to find a witch or a malevolent who can have small, big iris or those full eyes. Those are not Angelina Jolie eyes. They were contact
No.
lenses to make the
Mm-hmm.
irises smaller and like more deeper, like I'm looking at you and I get in through your head. Can you see this? None of them have big pupils or big irises. So we're going to go back to the final presentation. So there are embedded commands. And by the way, they do it so you can feel the emotion. And by the way, you can empathize with the characters. Another thing what they do is so you can relate or empathize to any of the characters you watch in front of you. I'm really curious to see what is going to be the next Prince. So since you have
Me too.
still small kids, you're going to be doing the research. I'm not going to put myself through all this for that. So how evil is Disney is because you are going to watch a movie expecting to only watch a movie, and you ended up consuming things, getting your kids exposed, and you are stimulated too. So if you want to be part of the Facebook group when we go in deeper and you can make questions and go in real time, you can go take a note. This is the part where you can take a screenshot or you can take notes. Remember, next Friday, we already did the presentation and we have fun doing it because we were researching and like, oh my God, people is not aware of how much influence we have. And one of the reasons too is that we use some of the things that we take from the Disney research that we did about the cult. And sometimes we say it's funny because it's more an expression, not because I think it's funny. It's terrible. It's horrible. I hear the testimonial of parents who almost lost their kids on this cult, and it's freaky how little control you sometimes have on your. Thank you for the answer. Okay. Says Perry says, thank you for the awesome analysis and a special thanks to Elba for the extensive Disney research. Like, yeah, I don't do Disney. Actually, again, this is the more Disney friendly t-shirt than I found in my house. So here's the way that you can contact us if for any reason you want to talk to us and you want to book in or know a little more about training or face reading, or again, just be part of the Facebook group. Let me tell you, we have a lot of fun when we do that. So,
Oh my God, yeah.
So let's see if we have any questions. I'm going to take the presentation away so we can have questions. Let's see. I want to see if we have any questions. I decided to do it today in my lovely sunroom because I don't think I'm going to be able to do this again until May. The call is coming to Chicago. Okay, I don't see questions. Is anything else, Alba, that you want to add related to the Disney and why do you think they do it? Why they use physiognomies? Anything else that you want to add?
I think I just want to add one thing. It's like we are looking behind, we are looking back what they are doing, and this is not to, like you said before, it's not like we are with Disney or against Disney. It's only to let you know what's happening, and you now you can choose what you are going to see, even though you're kids. Because it was so funny because when I was little, I watched all the movies and I always told to my mom, I don't want to be the princess. I don't like to be like that, those princes. But instead to the time passing the time, you can see that these are changing. But it's not like doing the whole change to the woman, to the figure of a woman. So this is to you to understand what is the real meaning, and you can choose what you wanted to see, because it's up to you. I think it's a decision that we have to make.
One of the things that I'm going to miss this year is tomorrow is Halloween. And the reason we choose Disney too is because tomorrow is Halloween. And one of the things, yeah, it's Elva, is the part of the year she loved the most.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay, that say a lot about you, honey. No, about me.
You see, that's why I love witches.
One of the things that I like to, I don't give candies. I watch it from the terrace. Sorry, not that kind of person. But I watch on the terrace or through the window, what are the costumes the kids pick every year? And when I see a majority of costume, I go back and like, okay, what happened with that character? And it's spooky how many of the girls choose either the princess or the evil one. They don't go out in the middle.
Then sometimes they want to be badass, and we start having female characters being badass in the last year. Tomb Raider, Kill Eva. So adult movies, when the women start having a better, a strong character. How to Get Away with Murder. What is the one, Olivia Pope, when she was the fixer on Washington? Yeah, a scandal. The movie Scandal. Only on the last 10 years, we start seeing female character take a protagonism on the movies. Before was only guys. So we went from the princess, and even though it happened in the Disney movies, where female, like Brave is the name of the movie.
Right. Yeah,
Brave.
you know what? I remember one. I was like, remember things, and I remember one princess. Well, she wasn't a princess. She was a fighter. They called Mulan, and that was a movie came with all these movies. And if you notice, that movie doesn't have such rating as the other ones, because she was the one that fight and made their things by her own.
But she was one of the first. She was one of the first Disney approach to female hero characters. No, I think Mulan was one of. If it's not the first one, was one of the first one when I was reading and doing the research for today.
Pocahontas was the first one.
What happened with Pocahontas? He have the same approach. Neither two.
Yeah, but it was the same approach, but the movie doesn't have the same rating. That's like, it's scaring me, because I said, like, why girls want to be like that kind of princess? Because even though if you can read the story of Mulan, that was true, but no one, when she came back to the war, and I don't know how to call the king of the Chinese empire. I don't know how to say, but he called her, and she says, like,
the emperor. I think the emperor.
And she says, like, okay, they're going to give me something, a medal or something. And he says, "No, you know what? I know that you did a great job out there at the war, but I want to marry you. I want to be you to be my, I don't know, my wife or sex wife." And she was like, "What?" Yeah, it's I read the story, and I was like, no.
I would like to know for our female audience, who want to be the princess and who want to be the witches. Elba?
I want to be the witch.
Yeah, what we do. So I would love to know what was your character and how it was evolving. If you want to be the hero, the female hero character, or you want to be the princess as the white fence. And another thing, most of the women have an apron in the front. Like your space is the kitchen. Again, maybe I'm not a feminist. I love the male-female character, but I don't like neither of the definitions, and I don't want to be defined by an apron. Neither I want to be the evil on the story, but I like to have my own identity. And I cannot wait to see what is going on in the next 10 years from Disney. So the one who have small kids is Vanessa on the team, so maybe she's going to be following with the Disney character evaluation and research. Elba, it's a pleasure to see you guys. Most of you are on the Facebook group. Today we're going to talk about manipulation and cults. Perry was one of the ones who says, please do that. So guys, in the group, I see you in an hour. You guys, I see you next week. We're going to be talking about, again, cults. We're going to talk about what is going on today. We're going to talk about what that can happen to you, and the signs that you need to start paying attention. And we find some features and similitudes and different cult leaders, because not always a cult is what is defined a cult. What Hitler did was a movement called a cult. Manson have a cult too, where they didn't kill anyone, somebody did it from them. So it's going to be a little more hardcore, but stay with us. It's something that we can learn. Vanessa says, of course, like, oh no, honey, you're a Disney girl. So Vanessa did because she need to. Elba did because she need to. Vanessa because you like it too. And by the way, only to understand how deep we went in this research to come to you. We present all the information to all the teams, like, okay, what are we going to be putting on the live? And Vanessa took all the Disney stickers that she had on the playroom. The kids like, you going away. She took it off. It was like, she sent us a video like, oh my God, like, yeah, this thing is not happening in my house. And she took it off. I love both outfits. Thank you. That's when you start getting conscious of what you're feeding your kids. Elba, see you in an hour.
See you too. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, see you next week. Bye.